Why is it not working?
Here we
the
go.
button's not working.
And earlier,
Why-
you said we didn't even need Aaron Shea earlier. You
Oh,
were
how
like,
about-
Aaron who?
How about this one? Hey, I'm Brandon. I love wherever this movie is from.
I'm Dan, and I really am having a hard time liking anyone in humanity right now.
I'm Alonso, and Brandon, where are you finding this stuff? And this
This is the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Got a whole duplicate on the Stream Deck that just doesn't work.
So
That's fun.
It's you?
I think at one point I made that one, and then we had to make changes. I don't remember what. 100% was my fault. I should have done
Deck the Hallmark
test
produced
drive.
by Brandon Gray.
This week, today, and I guess the rest of this week too.
Yeah, we're doing a
Sad.
whole nother week without Aaron. I mean, like, you'd think she'd come back
miss her.
eventually, but
Miss
I
her.
mean,
She's good. She's good at what she does.
There's no
I'll
way
say
that
much.
we picked the week she was on vacation to do 2 weeks of recording. We didn't do that. She's been gone.
Yeah.
It's not us. It's her.
That's right.
summer, it's a challenge.
I'll tell you where I find these, Alonso. Thanks
In
for
the
asking.
pit of hell.
Our friend Sleepy Kitty Paws kept an exhaustive list year after year of every release, and I don't know where they find them, but I know that this was on the list because it went from being hard to find to being readily available on the YouTube page Movie Central.
Well, I will say this, and I mean this as a compliment. This is not a film that you will find on Canopy, which I hope everybody has had the chance to check out. The Film Library,
Of course.
a Canopy podcast, which Daniel and I are hosting and Brand produced, and is now available wherever you find your
It's a great
podcast.
transition, great segue to bigger and better things. But Alonso, it was so fun. We did those episodes, and it's been long marinating and incubating, and so it's nice that it's going to be out there. And we got a chance to talk to some great people. Justin Simeon.
Rank your guests from
Patton
favorite to
Oswalt.
least.
I'm not going to do that.
I will not. Cheryl Dunier, Alex Winter, Kristen Lopez, Justin Chang, Josh Rubin, Francis Lee. Yeah, it's an amazing
It's
I'll
list.
just say
unbelievable.
this.
Every week was a dream come true.
As somebody who is not as steeped in the world of film as these two lovely fellows, I loved it too. And I listened
good.
to all of them, and all of the conversations were just super gripping. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
The Film Library, it's a fun pod. We did a lot of work on it. We got to talk to some amazing people. You should definitely check it out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Great job, everybody. Great
Yeah.
job all around.
Can't believe
Congratulations.
it's actually out. We've been working on it for 2 years. It's finally
I
here.
know.
It's here.
This is
Here
how
it
people
is.
that make movies.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Not this movie. This movie.
No, this movie
Oh,
was
no,
not done
no.
in a
This was a
this
weekend.
was so tops.
A long morning. Everybody got up at 4. Took some Adderall. They were done by the end of the day.
You know what will take longer than a week though to complete?
What's that?
Going through all of what's available on Philo. It'll
Oh
take
my
forever.
gosh.
We're trying with the Philo deep dive.
Philo
We're
deep
trying.
dive, and we're just not. I mean, it's barely doing anything.
We're 50
gosh,
episodes deep at this
50
point.
episodes of the
Which is
Philo
great.
deep dive.
It's been a lot of
which,
fun.
you know.
Everything from MILF Manor to whatever the heck Tim
I'm
Allen's
serious.
up to these days.
The Einstein challenge is my
coming
favorite
out in a
thing.
couple weeks. It's not out yet.
Yeah, that's a
great.
fun time.
Yeah.
That's a
The
fun time.
Einstein Challenge is a really fun show.
Yeah.
We find so much.
Yeah.
There's also Santa's Second Wife, and that's what we're talking about today. I don't know where it premiered. I don't know who it was for. I know that
You can start by saying you're sorry.
I'm
is
sorry.
what you can do.
I know that in 2023, per Sleepy Kitty Paws, the YouTube channel Movie Central, which apparently acquires movies from the Nethers, willy-nilly,
from the Nethers.
got this
From
one.
Satan's
Got their hands
nethers.
on this one. Got their hands on this one.
Yeah, they did.
And I'll start really quickly by reading some YouTube comments. Do you guys want me to do that?
I'd love for you to do
by all
Because I don't know who they think they are, these commenters, but they're not. I don't know. Wow. This movie made me laugh, mad, cry, and love at the same time. An awesome movie for all ages.
This is a paid sponsorship of some sort.
Signed the director.
That's right. Yeah.
Different take on Christmas movies. It was funny, enjoyable, and modern, in parentheses, the dating app part especially. Thanks for sharing. Good upload with no zooming or sound issues. Shout out to the people that don't pay for the rights to movies and put them on YouTube, but do the weird Zoom thing to get away with it. Everyone loves it. Everybody always loves it. Love this movie. I would watch it again. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Thank you for sharing. Loved it. Such a classic movie.
This is just BS.
Well, let's find out. The people can't be wrong, can they?
Perhaps Anna and Raven asked their listeners to go on YouTube and leave positive comments. Just a theory. I'm not.
We'll
I
talk
don't know
Anna and Raven here in just a little bit. I don't know where it came from. Don't know when it happened. But Santa's second wife went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with the narration of Santa Claus telling us Santa's history. He grew up in Europe and inherited a ton of money. He gave it all away to those that are in need. And now on Christmas, he began to deliver presents to children. He did all of this on his own until he met Jessica, and eventually they go on to get married. And over time, the empire of the Clauses grew, and Jessica was always by his side. Jessica Claus, of course.
Yes, Jess Claus, of course.
But as the years went by, Jessica grew distant and tired of her life. She just wanted her husband back, but he's too busy delivering toys to all the children. One night a year, she wouldn't decorate anymore. She wouldn't go to see him off on the big nights. This really bothered Santa, so he comes up with a plan. This year, Jessica is coming with me. It's only taken 1,700 years, but he's figured this out, that you can make the sleigh a little bigger, fit 2 people in in that bad boy.
Yeah.
2-seater.
A 2-seater. Have you heard about
years.
it? Santa created the 2-seater
Yeah.
for Jessica, and Jessica says, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not interested in this. She says, I would like for you to quit being Santa. He says, I can't do that. She says, well, I'm not happy. I want a divorce.
Boy, at least there's not like a marriage doctrine that would magically change things.
There's a marriage doctrine, Dan, that would magically change things. Apparently, if they get a divorce, Jessica, we know, will go back to being 40, and she'll go on to live her life. Cut now to a woman named Nev. Nev spends Christmas Eve not watching Christmas movies with her kids, but doing a live stream for her followers of products and things. Her son Hayden comes downstairs after going to sleep to get water in the middle of the night, and Santa's there, and Hayden's super chill about this, has a casual conversation with Santa, and Santa goes on his way. Santa gets back to the North Pole, signs the divorce papers, and Jessica becomes 40 again. He wakes up the next day, and he's also 40.
He's a man. He's 40.
He's skinny. He is. His first stop, though, you might be wondering, the mall.
Yeah.
The mall of random small town, just for lunch. He doesn't have any...
no big plans.
Just
get out there to the mall.
Just get out there to the mall.
No shopping agenda.
Literally zero shopping agenda, just the food court.
Just a Cinnabon.
Nev and family are also there at the mall on the 26th. Get out of here. And Hayden is convinced that he recognizes the guy that's sitting over there. It leads to an awkward scene where she goes over and is like, can you tell me, nod so that my kid knows that you're not going to kidnap him? Super weird scene.
That's the only one, though.
That's right. Santa and Nev both join this dating service, and we get a long montage. And to call it a montage is honestly probably not accurate. They are individual full-length scenes of all of their dates that they go on via this bad dating app. And one of Santa's elves is like, we got to get he's striking out. For some reason, he keeps matching with older women that are expecting an older man, but he shows up and he's 40, and it's the whole thing. So they put an ad in the paper saying that Santa's gotten a divorce and is in need of a Valentine. So they get a bunch of Valentines in the mail. So he agrees to go on a date with this woman who says, I will be at this restaurant on Valentine's night. Two-seater. It's a two-seater.
It's a two-seater.
It's a two-seater. So she goes, he shows up for the date. It's not going super well. Turns out Nev is also showing up for a Valentine's date. Her date is the husband of the woman that Nick is on a date with. Yes. And they start arguing. Clearly, they're going through a tough time. And so Nick and Nev both leave. They leave together, and they end up having a great time. They go on a ton of dates themselves. They have a kiss by the water with a guitar solo shredding in the background. It is finally time for Nick to meet the kids. And what better way to do that than with a 4th of July celebration.
With no fireworks.
There's fireworks later.
Not at the equine rescue, there's not. They specifically
That's
say
right.
there's not.
That's right, but they do show fireworks.
Interesting.
Should have been a wait
Yes,
what?
they do.
Should have been a wait what?
Yes,
Anyway, you go way down the street,
That's
and
right.
they're there, way far away from the horses. Anyway, it's going.
The equine rescue where they rescue sequins.
Yeah, okay. It's going well until Jessica Claus shows up and tells the family that Nick has a secret. So Nick finally has to come clean to Nev that he is Santa Claus. She does not handle Popo Gijo, if you will. Thank you, Dad. And it does not go well. Nev's not having it. He goes back and he's just mopey. And his elf is like, maybe there's something that you can do that would convince Nev that you are Santa. And he says, I know just what to do.
Talk to her.
Talk to her. So he shows up, goes down the chimney, and shows up with a beer. You might be wondering, why did Santa come down the chimney with the beer? Well, at the beginning of the movie, for a reason I actually don't know, I'm sure they explain it, Nev leaves a Christmas beer next to the cookies for Santa, and he's like, how else would I know that this is the beer? And she's like, good enough for me. And so they kiss. The kids are pumped. Fast forward to the North Pole, and it was wedding day, and everybody is so happy for them, and we are introduced for the first time to Mr. and Mrs. Nick Claus, and that, my friends, was
Santa's second wife. We did it.
Do you know why she leaves a beer, Alonso? He explains
She leaves a note that says, after the year we've all had, you could probably do with something stronger than milk and cookies.
Classic, yeah.
Nice. He says to Hayden, this is an inside joke between me and your mom, and that's good enough for me. That was good enough for me. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll break this movie down here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Santa's Second Wife from the internet, where you can watch it. Let's break this movie down, shall we?
I'd love that, Bran.
We're going to start with the hot take. We're going to share exactly how we felt about this movie. I'm going to start with Alonso. Alonso, you've seen a lot of movies over the years as a film critic. I imagine this will be at the top of the list for you.
Oh, for
but
sure.
I won't take the words out of your mouth. What did you think about Santa's Second Wife?
It's going to be at the top of a list. The naughty list, perhaps. Yeah. This movie felt like somebody wrote down Santa's second wife on a note card, patted themselves on the back for having a great idea, and then went and played golf.
Yep.
Like there's a germ of an idea, a seedling of a notion, of a thought, of a concept here that they don't explore in any way that's remotely interesting, and that in fact makes less and less sense as it goes along. We're meant to find out that God made them immortal, but apparently also gave them a divorce decree as an out for all this, which y'all have read the Bible more than I have, but that seems to clash with some moments in the New Testament.
Not my God!
No,
Yeah, so that's, also leprechauns, but we won't even get into that. And like for the ambition of this movie that it's going to be partially set at the North Pole and stuff, it's all just so cheap and dreary, and the cast means well, but like there's nobody here who really has a firm grip on any of these characters. And so, yeah, this is just like, we see a lot of this, and a lot of this sort of makes us appreciate even like the worst of Hallmark, even the house cleaning movie of Hallmark. But like, even on this scale, this is just toward the bottom. It really does feel like a bunch of people got together one weekend and like decided to make a movie with what they had, within reach.
We've seen a lot of not good movies in our day of doing this.
We've seen a lot of not good movies in our day.
Specifically on Mondays, weirdly enough.
Yeah, whose fault that is.
Lucky me.
We're turning the tide in July.
We'll talk about it. But I think the thing that the commonality of the worst of the movies that we have seen is that they all don't have enough movie to make it to full movie length. And so it's like, okay, we've got to an hour and 5. Let's do a 10-minute credit scene and rewatch the movie.
Not this movie.
And I like that. That's sweet. That's nice. It makes the badness a little bit more palpable. This is an hour and 37.
Palatable. Yeah.
Palpable, if you will.
The badness is palpable.
This is palpable. I've always said that. This movie is an hour and 37 minutes long. And
oh yeah,
man, do you feel it? Oh! And what is tough is that almost every scene in this movie goes on too long, but there's also scenes that like it could have been a montage.
Could have been an email.
It could have been a montage. This movie could have been an email. Could have been a montage. The dating section in the middle of this movie goes on for an eternity, and not funny. There's a lot of things that are trying to be funny and they are not funny. Maybe could have been funny.
And Brand gives everybody a break on funny. Brand finds a way to make it all. And if Brand says it's not funny, it is not funny.
It's the lack of trimming anything. So like, we've seen, here's a good example. A good example of something that I still found to be a little bit funny was the weird haircut scene from that one movie where they take the guy talking about the haircut and they cut it a ton.
There's
and it's just like a bunch of things.
Yeah, like a linorama. Yeah.
And we all said they could have cut some of them, but what made it work okay was that they did trim some things and they're putting them back to back
edited.
to show how bad the haircut is. Is it a weird scene? Yeah. Is it too long? Still yes. But at least they did a thing. With some of these dating scenes, they go on for so long. And there's like maybe, with the one scene where she goes on the date with the guy and they're sitting at the bar and he gets a call from his ex or whatever.
Calls.
That there was a moment in there.
That was the closest to funny.
There's a moment in there where I chuckle, and then it continues and it continues and it continues. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I felt about this movie. It continues and it continues and it continues. I like the general idea of this movie. I would like to give it another shot. Maybe we could go to the drawing board, come up with something. There's something intriguing here. But the finished product is so freaking long, guys. I cannot. Somehow, I know Oppenheimer's longer. Somehow you finish it quicker. I don't know how, but start them simultaneously.
The time-space continuum in Interstellar? Yeah. Where they poke right through the paper? That's what happens.
Somehow, if you start Oppenheimer and this movie at the same time, you'll be done with the Heimer quicker.
This is not even up to the standards of Santa's wife takes a vacation without him in December.
That's right. No, it isn't. You're right.
And becomes a pole dancer movie.
Wild. Man. Remember that time? That was crazy.
Man, an actual movie that we saw.
That seems like just high art.
Yeah. Dana?
I'll keep the good times rolling. 12 Angry Men, Rashomon, Doctor Strangelove, Fargo, The Princess Bride. all of these movies are shorter than Santa's second wife.
Oh, no.
All of those movies, all of the movies that I just mentioned, we are talking movies that do stuff. Doctor Strangelove, Fargo, Princess Bride, 12, all of the, Rashomon, they're all shorter than this movie that was made in someone's wood panel housing in the local mall, Brands be damned. They hired their family and friends. They paid them nothing. They cut nothing. They had nothing. They made a movie that could have been solved with a sleigh ride, and it lasted longer than Doctor Strangelove. Guys, there have maybe been movies that are worse across the board, but those movies are 30 minutes shorter than this movie. And if it is that long, imagine how long it feels. What Brand said about Oppenheimer, not wrong. I couldn't wait to escape the living hell that I was a part of. The Princess Bride had, guys, Inigo Montoya, all of it. It's shorter than this movie.
Prepare to die, and I did.
And here's the thing is, we know in all 5 of those movies I mentioned, the credit sequence is longer. So it's even shorter. Guys, this is embarrassing. It is I said Werewolf Santa, least favorite experience. We topped it in the same month. Because
we have a new winner.
Werewolf Santa's 73 minutes long. This movie's 100 minutes long. It is, it's just unbelievable. We talk all the time, we could make a movie. Watching this made me want to make a movie. That's
sweet. They inspired you.
I told Bran, if you and I were directing a movie, I don't know how to direct a movie. I don't know crap about crap, but I can tell you this. If I saw one of these takes, I'd be like, it's not happening. Shut it down. Everybody just pack it up. I wouldn't.
Come back tomorrow. We'll try again. We'll come back. It's not worth.
Yes. Everybody get a reset. Let's everybody take 5. Go get some. There's some tangerines
we'll
and
get B-roll
Capri
today.
Sun by Craft Services.
We're at the food court.
Right.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
We'll get the B-roll. You guys come back tomorrow prepared.
Yeah. I just can't. I just couldn't. I couldn't. There's so much wrong with the movie that my wait what list isn't long because I just couldn't focus.
Stopped.
I just couldn't it's terrible. It's a great, the idea is there, but nothing else. You're 100% right. Everybody went to play golf. I'm so mad. I was so angry at the end of this movie. Sorry, Brandon.
Well, that's okay. I don't know why you're apologizing to me.
Stanley Kubrick can make a minted classic in less time it took them to slap whatever this is on the screen.
Dan, I just want you to.
They really needed that real estate.
I want you to promise me right now that if we ever get to the point in our lives where we win an Oscar, you go on stage and you just thank this movie.
Yeah.
I want to thank the movie that is the inspiration for me getting into directing.
I was 40 years old, had no desire to direct. I saw the movie and I was like, I'm going to make films.
Jean-Luc Godard said the best way to review a movie is to make another movie. So,
let's do it.
There you go.
You got some money, Alonso?
Let me check.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get to all the
everybody go buy Hollywood Pride right now. Yeah.
Let's get to all the feels.
Okay.
That's where we talk about what this movie gives feels. Alonso?
There were 2 things in this movie that kind of made me think of classic TV specials in passing. And so that gave me a little tiny glimmer of hope. First of all, that Santa's wife is named Jessica because Jessica is also the school teacher in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the one with the Burgermeister Meisterburger and the Kringles and stuff. Yeah. So that, and the super gay elf who designs the clothes reminded me of Hermie, who is the sort of classic gay elf from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I did admire those 2 shout outs to much, much better Christmas media. That's about it.
Fair enough. There is a scene in this movie where it could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour into this movie. Don't quote me.
But at one point said, how long do you think is left in this movie? And I was like, you don't want to know. And I clicked and there was almost 50 minutes left.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
There's a scene going on at the North Pole, and they got to figure out how do we get out of this and how do we get back into Nev's house. And the way that they do it is the start of a sitcom. It's an exterior establishing shot of her house with and then cut to them at the table. And super weird. They don't do it before that or after, but it was fun for me.
It'd be great if one of the kids walked in the room and the studio audience went, "Woo!
Yay! Dylan!
All right, Urkel.
That guy. Dano?
I think that's probably the problem with the movie is that there's more of that kind of stuff, or like John up there is my mentor. Like that kind of stuff really does give a movie like wings.
A lift.
And this movie doesn't have any of that. Obviously, I came to the table with nothing aside from I got a crisp soda water when this thing was done, and it hit hard. So there you go.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Way What and the What the Hallmark here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Santa's second wife here on this Monday. Hopefully, you're doing better than us. Let's get to the Way What. It's where we talk about what in this movie made us go, Way What? Alonso.
So most of this movie is people sitting around suburban tract houses or sitting around malls or sitting around radio stations or sitting around horse farms. Mm-hmm. And, you know, these are all very available items. You know, they don't require a lot of movie magic. So there's really only a couple of things that this film had to sort of create from whole cloth to capture the story of the Santas. And of course, they do all of them quite badly.
Yep.
Jessica, early on, before she gets her divorce and youngifies, is wearing the wiggiest wig that ever wigged.
Yep.
Like, it just looks like it fell off a shelf and landed on her head, and it's like maybe sideways. I don't know, but it's so fake and just this thing on top of her head. His Santa beard.
My gosh.
Isn't even white,
No.
Like thousands of years later, and he's still kind of rocking an auburn. Like, I don't know what's happening.
It is the worst. I do have to, like, this is one of mine, and since you brought it, like, it is the worst Santa I've ever seen in one of these movies. At one point, his belt is on top of his belly.
Yes, that's the other thing. He's supposed to get thin after he turns 40, but like the padding on him for fat Santa is never effective.
It's terrible. The beard's bad. The performance is bad. The belt is above the belly. That's ridiculous. Like it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Like the lady who cosplays Mrs. Santa for their date, and that's a movie I would want to see about like the Santa dating circle, is a better Mrs. Claus than Jessica is at the beginning of this movie. And then obviously the big capper of all of the Christmas magic that they can't quite muster here is the plywood sleigh.
Oh, yeah. We had a cardboard sleigh a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this is different.
This is worse somehow.
I could you under the paint, you can practically see the particle board lines.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so, I mean, I get it. This is not a high budget movie or whatever, but like, this is your one expense. You rent a real sleigh from somebody because this is just not photographing well at all. The notion that Santa gets to have a divorce and it's okay with God, you know, that set my head spinning.
Not only was it okay with God, it was okay with God to the tune of, and you get to return to the prime of your life.
Yeah, honestly, like, that's like a really, really good deal. Like, great deal.
Sure. Live 1,700 years, fly around the world, and then at some point go back to being 40.
And you're not going back to 25. You're going to 40 because really that's prime divorcee age, I think.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, that's like start shopping for your sports cars, sir. You are 40, you know. The idea that an influencer is shilling Christmas pajamas on the night of Christmas Eve.
Yeah, no way.
Is a stretch, which I'll even forgive the idea of a dating service that's called Marry Anything that's supposed to operate year round, but that one was just too much for me. The North Pole is just like Teaneck, New Jersey. I don't know what that place even is, but it's just somebody's house. Like give me like a stock image of a snow drift or something.
Yeah.
We do get some stock footage of reindeer because heaven forbid we ever see them attached to the plywood sleigh, but that's at least an effort to try and, capture this thing. You guys already touched on this in the plot synopsis, the kidnapping conversation.
Oh my gosh.
It's not funny. It's quite unsettling, and it goes on and on and on. And it's like, I don't generally ever want to see an improv troupe that's made up principally of people under the age of 15. And I especially don't want to see that improv troupe tackle the idea that a strange guy at the mall is about to kidnap you. Didn't work for me.
I mean, but
Sorry.
if
Maybe
that's
my
really
problem.
what he's scared of, like, and this, you just go up to this dude and be like, "Hey, my kid thinks you're gonna kid." Like, that's
the way
still,
she handles it is so weird.
Like, she doesn't want to
so
give
weird.
up
Just
the
nod.
secret. Like,
if someone goes up to you and says, "Hey, just nod," no, I'm not. I mean,
and thank goodness he didn't. Like, imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to walk me through this.
Sheesh.
Oh yeah. This movie's take on divorce. Like, I have no problem with people who need to end a relationship and, for whatever reasons, like the spark that was once there is gone. This movie, like, okay, I get it. Jessica is portrayed as awful and just gets worse as the movie proceeds.
Yep.
But when elf number one, who, by the way, they never put an equal amount of rouge on his cheeks. There's always one that's redder than the other one. At one point, literally says, "She left you. She doesn't deserve anything."
I know, it's brutal.
Okay, come on.
Which is then followed up by the conversation of her showing up and springing the notion of alimony, which is movies like, ew, yuck, what? And like, she's not wrong. I mean, after 1,700 years of supporting this guy. I mean, I'm not saying go full California, split it down the middle, but
she
kick
probably
her a
needs
little
some
something.
sort of quality of living. Yes. Yes. 100%.
I think that is absolutely, not beyond the pale to ask for, but this movie's like, ew, no. What
And
are we even
also,
talking about?
the flip of that is, I think the movie, in implying that divorce, like that this divorce is causing this, also implies that Santa needs a wife. Like he gets divorced and he is immediately like, what am I going to do about Mrs. Claus? Like, is that necessary? He started this without a wife. Can't he?
Some men just don't know how to be alone,
He can't just like go in Santa until he finds the right woman. Like, I don't get it.
Pour himself into his work. Like, that is a weird thing. Where
Like,
it's like, nope, gotta get a sub in here quick.
She gets terrible and more terrible as the movie goes on, but he is stuck on the idea that I've been married. Can you imagine being married, having a life partner for 1,700 years and thinking in the next 3 months, I got to find a new one?
Where's my rebound?
No, bro. You outdate the Black Plague. You can't just
Pace yourself.
You can't just jump into something new.
That's another thing. Thank you. That the way they keep talking about, things have changed, on Earth, or things are more expensive now. It's like the feudal system was happening the last time you were on Earth. Like you're taking on cars and penicillin with great ease. Like, I don't know how this is such a breezy thing. And then finally, he gets married on his busiest day of the year. Like they couldn't do it any other day, and then she goes with him. They have to pack all of that into Christmas Eve. Like, that just seems like a lot to ask of the elves, of everybody.
Yeah, I have a few as well. One, they at the beginning they're arguing about, you're so busy all the time.
Yeah.
And one of
visibly mad.
One of the things that he's busy with is training the reindeer.
Yeah.
And like, man, don't they have this down by now? It's been 1,700 years. What are you teaching them? Here's how you go up and here's how you go down. Like, they're trained. I think they got it.
Maybe they're not in the immortality umbrella with Santa.
Every Christmas he watches film and he's like, look at your draft, your comment.
We got to get...
That's embarrassing. We got to get back better. Back in the simulator and really get this right.
He's got the chalk circles out.
See, as you can see, he was.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Keeps rewinding. You happy with this?
Yeah.
You happy with this, Donner? You think this is your
best work
right here, Blitzen?
Blitzen, you dumb bee!
Yeah, Blitzen, you think this is your best right here? It's like you guys all think.
Who do you
Rudolph
think you
has
are?
it.
I am.
That's right. Yeah.
Hayden is not.
Dasher, you've been trasher lately. If you could get it together.
Rudolph, more like Snoodolph, am I right? Snooze stuff.
We'll get there.
Hayden is not remotely thrown, surprised.
Nothing.
That Santa is there. He's like, yo, what's up, my guy?
Imagine a kid confirming Santa, and his reaction is like, what's up, bro?
I'm just here for some water. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I don't need you, right? Like, I'll just let you do your thing.
I loved that when he gets back to the North Pole, they go into the workshop and they put, for some reason, 2 elves at the back of the sleigh to like push, but nothing's happening. And it's just like, why did you need to do that? Like, I think that's part of the reindeer's job is to get it to where it needs to be, but also good luck pushing it. I don't know, whatever. I did get a chuckle that the divorce papers are on a scroll that he has to sign with just a regular pen. I thought that was fun. Santa's place, his house where he dwells,
His crib
is not Christmassy in the slightest.
Yep.
Not at all.
Nope.
You kidding me right now? He's Santa Claus. It's like he
does it. He's got that one lamppost in the driveway.
And they do say Mrs. Claus stopped decorating, but I can't imagine
you leave it up all
Santa.
year. You're Santa.
Yeah.
You're Santa. And when he comes back, it's Christmas. Do something. I just don't know where do you get off? I don't appreciate this slander that Santa is somehow being like, well, I've got to leave my work at home. I'm not going to decorate for Christmas. Get out of here with that.
I gave it the office.
The coffee shop is called The Coffee Shop. I appreciated that. That was fun. There is one montage in this movie where it's Nick and Nev going on multiple dates. And in one of the scenes, they're walking over this little bridge and Santa stops and is just like looking at the trees like, whoa, was he tripping shrooms? Like, what was going? This guy was like, oh my gosh, this is freaking nuts right now. And
maybe he's like Santa Samson who likes to go look at the trees.
That's right. That's right. I go to look at the trees.
Look at the trees.
AKA the lights.
The lights.
Everyone knows what I say.
Yes.
But also, they chose this montage for them to have their first kiss, and it was really weird and not exciting, and it's just not what I wanted. Only a couple of more. When it is about time for Nick to meet the rest of the family, they've been dating for, I believe, 5 months. And she's talking to her best friend, and she's saying, Nick is going to come meet the family. And her best friend is like, you go straight from dating a guy to introducing them to your kids? I feel like there should be steps in between.
What are 5 months?
What steps? What are you gonna bring them in one limb at a time? I don't. What are you talking about?
Wave at him from a passing car.
They've been dating for 5 months. That's the steps.
Well, the friend also thinks that he's going to kidnap them.
Yes,
Yes.
A real concern. Last but not least, oh my gosh. Dadgummit, Santa. On your wedding day, the part 2, you're going to wear a gray suit? Are you kidding me? Your whole thing is a red suit.
Yeah.
You wear the red suit. You wore a gray suit. I would have been okay with green. You come out here with a gray suit.
The suit at the end of Christmas in Carolina is what he needed.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Or,
there you go.
Any of the other outfits that anyone else at the wedding was wearing. Yeah. The kid's wearing a Christmas suit. The daughters are wearing Christmas dresses. They all got the memo. Everyone got the memo except for freaking Santa Claus.
Yeah, gray suit, weird green bow tie. Not even a Christmas green bow tie.
So mad.
Yeah. Hashtag not my family.
Absolutely. Dano?
I'm not mad at a movie that doesn't have a budget to do Christmas magic. I'm not mad at that movie. But when the entirety of your film hinges on movie magic, you have a problem. Like this movie, like it takes an hour for them to start dating. It does. But the whole thing, the big all is lost moment is you're not really Santa. Why would you claim to be Santa? It's so easy to prove that you're Santa. So easy. You have flying reindeer. You have sleigh. You have North Pole. They can't use any of that. This movie, it does come in at an hour 12. If he's like, you don't believe I'm Santa? Hold on 1 second. And he brings the sleigh through. She gets inside it. The movie's over. It's done. Say goodnight. The movie's over. But they can't do that in this movie because they don't have access to public domain.
Or here's the thing, or you at least come up with a smart reason why that isn't going to work. For example, a movie we all liked recently, Catch Me If You Claus.
Yep.
Is that what it was called?
Yes.
So with the Luke McFarlane Hallmark movie, she doesn't believe that he is Santa's son, and there are reasons why she doesn't believe it because he can't immediately call upon the things that Santa could call upon to fix
that movie had what I believe they call in technical terms a writer. And I think that probably
helps a lot.
Yeah, I believe it's a Nina Weinman joint, which helps even more. She knows what she's doing.
For sure.
Early in this movie, we have our influencer on Christmas Eve night finishing selling her Christmas pajamas. And then she goes to put all her kids to bed. And she gets to her oldest daughter. And she walks in. Her daughter is reading a book, not on a Kindle or like an actual paper book of substance. And she's like, you got to put that book away right now. And the daughter begs her to read one more chapter. Lady, your teenager is on Christmas break reading a book. She's reading a book.
Girl's doing the thing Dan's been begging me to do for years.
I've literally been telling Brand to read a book for a decade. She's reading a book for fun. She's getting something. She's gleaning education for herself on Christmas break. And you're like, you got to put that away. You got to put that novel away. What?
Readers of the essential Hallmark film guide, I'll Be Home for Christmas movies will recognize this trope from films like Hope at Christmas and Christmas at Graceland.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they did it this way. So I've made this complaint multiple times.
Put that book down and go to bed right this second, young lady. It's Christmas time.
On Christmas break, try to expand your knowledge. You know what I mean? She's not reading an Archie comic over there. Like she's got a novel out. Why in the world of all nights? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that was embarrassing.
She even says it's not like I've got school in the morning. Yeah. It's like, the kids are all going to wake up early to open presents, but no, put that book down.
The motivation of Jessica Claus escapes me. I get if you decide to end your marriage or partnership because you want different things. And if she has said, I just don't want to do the Mrs. Claus bit anymore, that's fine. She wants him to stop being Santa Claus. That is the motivation of Jessica Claus is I actually still want to be your partner after 1,700 years. I just want you to stop doing the thing you were doing before I met you. That is your entire identity. Like it is just absurd. It's not like, hey, I married a 22-year-old who liked to play video games all weekend, and he's 42 and he still does it all weekend, and she thought he'd change. That is not what this is. This is a millennia-long occupation.
You've long given up on retirement at this point, I would think, after the first 1,500 years.
To expect, that's right. Once, you know what they say about men is once they do something for 1,000 years, there's just no hope. There's just no hope that they'll ever
They're not going to break
up.
that habit.
Yeah. So
that old saying.
I couldn't believe that was like, if she just was like, I'm out of here, that would have made a little bit more sense. Like, I want to go back to being 40. I'm done with you. Okay, great. She's tired of it. But for her to come in and be like,
said, hey, I've been looking over the agreement, and turns out if I call it quitsies, I go back to being 40. Yeah. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Great. That's pretty dope.
Do your thing.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
And that is why usually these movies are about like the child of the Santas who needs to get married or find a wife
Correct.
to inherit the blah, 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 blah. Divorcing Santa just is opens up a lot of questions that this movie is not nearly prepared
Jessica
to answer.
Claus thought he was going through a Santa phase. She was like, he's going to get out of this phase any day now. I know it. And then lastly, we've talked a lot about the costuming in this movie, which is non-existent. The head elf, what's his name?
Sean
Kingston. Somebody
Kingston.
call 911. Yeah, Kingston. He is wearing a green elf's outfit, and whatever. It's a green elf's outfit, buttoned all the way.
Stripy tights.
But they decide, someone somewhere making this movie decided that they needed to glue a hand cut out red dot, like singular red dot right here. Not like a pattern and not like it's in the costume. Someone hand cut a red dot and then glued it onto this outfit. Why did they do it? Like,
did they intend to like write head elf on there and like
if it's
forgot?
sticking out to me, you know that you've got a problem. Like, it's not. It doesn't make any sense. It is still to me more than a gray suit at your wedding. Why did you need
Maybe it's to bring out the cheek rouge. I don't know.
I don't understand. So, you know what? This is missing something. Somebody get me my scissors and some Elmers. We'll figure it out together.
Also, the clear silly putty elf ears were tough too.
Oh,
Ooh,
brutal.
Yeah.
Just do regular ears. Yeah. We're not gonna talk about it. We'll be fine with it.
We'll be fine. We wouldn't have noticed. We wouldn't have been like, this movie would have held up aside from the ears not being pointy.
I was promised elf. Danny, got anything else?
That's it.
It's time for What the Hallmark. It's where we wonder what could have been, maybe helping us some clarity. Any questions that we still have? Alonso, what are you still wondering about? Anything?
I want to unpack the whole "you become 40 again" thing, because the deal is, God said they would be immortal, but if they get divorced, then they both revert to being 40. And I assume that Santa gets to remain immortal because he's Santa and we need him to do the gifts. Is Jessica going to die now?
Yeah.
Or is she still immortal, but like, did she get that in the settlement?
If she loses her immortality, then why wouldn't Santa? Just because he's Santa, or because he's the one that didn't want to get divorced? It's a mess. It's a mess of a premise. It just is. Yeah. Bad.
I have in that same vein, like, now that Santa's remarried, how does that affect his age too?
Yeah.
Does he go back?
Does he have to get remarried? Does God want us all to be married so badly that the only way he can have immortality is to go back and get married again?
I'm assuming now he and Nev will age together eternally.
That's great.
Yeah. With bad wigs.
But
and all.
what's the point of getting, why make them get old though, if they can go back to being 40?
It doesn't, they put little work into all of it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
There is a throwaway line in this movie when Sean Kingston comes into Santa's house on the 26th, and Santa is sad. He's in his 40s now, and he has a robe on, and he looks at Santa and he says, why are you dressed like you're going to a bunny party? And like, I took that as Santa has a history of going to Playboy parties, because Kingston saw him and said, "Oh, I know where you're going. Is it that
the grotto?
You're going
at Hef?
Is that does Santa have a history with Hef? What's going on?"
I think what it means is, like, you're wearing a robe, you look like Hugh Hefner, but they didn't want to say that, so they say a bunny party.
Yeah, it just really made me think, like, oh, what?
It fit the
you're
movie.
in your bunny costume. I know this. I know you're getting ready to go. But also this movie, if you watch it, you notice radio DJs, Anna and Raven are featured prominently.
We almost did it. We almost made it the whole.
Now, I don't know who Anna and Raven are. They're radio DJs. They got some sort of show. They do a podcast, whatnot. But when you Google the movie, it brings you to the Anna and Raven website. Alonso sent it over. It was the first thing I looked at this morning, so that was fun. And
I did wake up at 6 in the morning. I was like, what is Alonso
and it says
talking about?
Anna and Raven made a movie. They teamed up with Gemelli Films to bring our Christmas movie to life.
Oh.
And I just want to know about that
So it's not unprecedented that podcasters would make a movie.
No, it's not. But they tend to bring it to life. They don't get the credit of writing it. That goes to Candy Kane,
yep.
Who also directed the movie.
That's right.
So did they just have the initial idea? How'd they get hooked up with Candy Kane?
They wrote Santa's Second Wife on a note card. And
there it is.
And then they went,
right.
And they're in it a good bit in this movie.
Unfortunately, for all
very,
of us,
very interested in how all of it came to be. Dano?
Yeah, mine is about Candy Kane. The movie starts, and in the credits up front, it says written and directed by Candy Kane. And I was like, are you kidding me? And we looked it up, and this woman is named Candace Kane. My question is pretty simple, and then we can go. Does she really go by Candy all the time? Is she really Candy Kane in real life?
Or was it a fun Christmas thing?
Or was it a fun Christmas thing? I just can't imagine her deciding as a life choice. Call me Candy Kane. That's it. That's all I got.
Because she makes non-holiday movies, so you don't want to paint yourself into
That's
that.
right. You
corner,
don't.
I think.
Yeah. It's like calling yourself Deck the Hallmark.
For instance.
Okay, guys. Next week we're going to a movie.
If you so help me.
Hold on.
Okay.
This movie, I've heard, and by heard I mean I read some actual reviews. People like it. Okay.
Okay.
Colin Mockery's in it.
Okay.
Colin Mockery's in it. It's not on, as far as I know, you have to rent it on Prime, but I felt like it might be worth it. This is How to Ruin the Holidays. How to Ruin the Holidays. Okay. It's on Prime. Some other things, and it's about a comedian who goes back to live with him.
Colin Mockery's presence means it has to be better than this. But the string we're on right now is just
I know.
Okay.
We're on quite the
Maybe
streak.
we're going to break that string.
I know. All right, everybody. We'll be back next time with another one. Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. Is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.